Alright, so when you think of the 2025 NFL draft class, which I know there is a lot of players, but when you think of quarterbacks, you obviously going to think of names like, Shedeur Sanders, a very hyped up name given who his father is, or Cam Ward, who's looking to be the most NFL ready quarterback, given his talents he showcases at Miami almost every damn week. Or you have a safe option like Ewers, where you know what you're getting with him. Those players might come to your mind first. But within the quarterback board list, I guarantee you, as you look down on that list, there is one player who's flying under the radar with one of the craziest ceilings you can ask for in a prospect. That guy would have to be Jaxson Dart. This guy, when I say he will be, and I'm putting in all, I am 100% going all in saying this guy will be the biggest steal of the entire draft. In my opinion, and a lot of other people can agree, he is the true quarterback 3 in this entire draft class. Now hang on, before you say Jaxson Dart will not be the biggest steal of the entire night, as it's a giant draft. There's always going to be a much larger steal or just someone to pop out of like round 6 or 7 even, or it could be the final pick like a Brock Purdy. And I'm not saying Dart will be the biggest steal, but he's going to be one of, because without a doubt, if you do know who Jaxson Dart is, he's a very well-known name. That name itself is something that's not very easy to forget. That's a pretty damn good name if you ask me. So if you do watch college ball, but if you do not know who he is the quarterback for the Ole Miss Rebels, coming in at 6'2", 225 pounds. Jaxson Dart was once a commit to the University of Southern California before he transferred to sophomore year. When someone like the name of Caleb Williams decided he wanted to come over there instead after leaving Oklahoma, after fucking completely robbing Spencer Rattler of his job, he decided, I'm going to go steal Jaxson Dart's job. So he went there and did that. So Dart went to Ole Miss to replace a Matt Corral who just recently entered the NFL draft. And since going to Ole Miss, within 3 years, he's been one of the most electric players to watch. As his name does not lie, the man is a literal human dart. He's been putting up over 11,000 passing yards within his 3 years of playing there. And just this season, he has nearly 4,000 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions with 86.7 QBR, second in the country. So now that I have explained who Jaxson Dart is, let me just say, if I was an NFL scout myself, I would personally have him as the perfect quarterback 3. If I drastically needed a quarterback, God-giving, if I was the Giants or the Raiders, and I didn't like Cam Ward or I didn't like Shedeur Sanders, or, both of them are off the board and I'm late in the first round and I need a guy, Jaxson Dart is the guy. He's someone I would have above Ewers. He's someone I have above Ewers already, just given the ceiling this kid has. Because if you've been watching him since his starting year to now, he just shows improvement year by year. Like, he is someone who is just going to give you his all. He's a quarterback who just really wants to just adapt his game to the next level. He's someone who just loves to win. So, that's exactly what I would want in a quarterback. He is someone who just wants to be the next best thing. And that's exactly what he has been doing the last 2 years. He's been really making his name well known to be one of the best quarterbacks right now in college football. And I will say he is one of the top names in college football, as a lot of people will agree right now, is because his stats rival someone like Shedeur Sanders, which is something to look at. It really is. But a lot of people really argue he faces no competition. Like, his competition is just a bunch of fucking D3 schools is what it feels like. Some people will say his stats are stat padded. Let's argue that. Not only are they in the SEC, Dart has also played Georgia, where he put up 199 passing yards in the entire game. Yeah, he did it. He did it with a pick too, but he was also hurt at the start of it. He trashed Oklahoma, putting up 311 yards, and then went on to put up 515 against Arkansas. He averages about 250 passing yards a game, which, again, might not be real competition to some people, but, is it really his fault? Does he control who he plays? It's the whole Bo Nix argument again, in my opinion, how he played fraudulent schools except Washington, and now how he was a scheme quarterback for Oregon. Now, tell me, how exactly did that common age? How did the whole, oh, Bo Nix was a fucking system quarterback, how did that age? Anyways, the school he has beaten, like Oklahoma, have also went on to shut down Alabama, or South Carolina, who went on to beat the Aggies, or even Georgia, who has beaten Texas and Tennessee this year. So it's not like he only beats up on bum schools. I'm not going to say he completely plays, top 10 competition every damn week. He does play against some trash schools, I will admit that. But he can beat pretty good defenses, but not as clean, I will note that. He averages about only 1 touchdown against top rival defense, which even in the Florida loss, he still had 323 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks, and 71 rushing yards to end off the game, with his biggest loss ever in his entire career so far being 52-17 to Georgia, the same team he beat this year on a rematch. So yeah, that sounds great. The common eye will just really take that and run with it and just say, you know what, he should be a first round pick. But now it's time to ask, why is he not a first round pick? And to most people, or why is he projected as the number 88th pick on the rankings list for the most draft boards behind quarterbacks even like Ewers. And to answer that, I will somewhat just try to list his struggles or just reasoning behind his ranking in a harsh way, but to say it lightly, a lot of people that I also agree with will say the system he plays under is not a credible one, which he plays under Lane Kiffin's high-powered passing offense. And if you're new to college football, or if you're not, they run pretty much 50% play action calls all the time, which made even guys like Matt Corral look great, who aren't even in the NFL no more. I swear to God, I didn't even see him take 2 snaps as a starter. The dude got ejected quick out of the league. So yeah, so people will point to it and will say it's all a gimmick offense and how his system is made to where, you know, the reads are already predetermined, which means he doesn't have got to think much and just throw it deep to someone like Trey Harris, who's been one of his main guys all year, or, you know, make a one quick read, medium throw, easy first down. And with a system like this, Kiffin runs it so easy, it just focuses really on one side of the field. His Ole Miss system is probably one of the more anti-NFL type offenses in the country. You know, they're a great explosive college team, I will give them that, but they're not a great NFL development team for its players, including mainly quarterbacks. It is not a great development team. And even then, Dart still does make his struggles under the system every now and then. I've seen in the Florida game, I mentioned where he still did alright, or even in the Kentucky game where the struggles were put on notice. Like when he's not trying to force the ball to someone where, you know, he'll make very quite questionable progressions and risky hero ball type passes, which result usually in either an interception or just a giant overthrow, you know, where he just misses the guy completely. When he tries to just step up and be a hero and just try to do shit that should not be done, you know, he's going to make mistakes. Now that I got his struggles out of the way, I can finally talk about him a little bit more. I know, this video sounds like a giant glaze. It sounds like, you know, I'm doing tricks on it. I swear. This is just meant to be a video, you know, where I just talk about him. So if you're going to comment, oh, you're doing tricks on it, then fuck right off. But you know what? It's finally time we talk about Jaxson Dart once again. And truly, he's got a perfect frame for the NFL. I mean, he's 6'2", 225 pounds, which is in range of what most teams are looking for. He's shown he can adapt to the game given the situation and can be a very consistent quarterback, which even when the pressure can be high sometimes, just like a Quinn Ewers, he can make pretty solid defensive reads and, you know, can fucking pop off. And that's shown he's not really afraid to be a leader, just take control of any moment. He's got one of the strongest arms in the draft, I will say, and I confidently agree with that, and has proven he can be a lethal dual threat quarterback if you just leave him open. If there's like a gap just somewhere in the window of the pocket, he's going to run right through it, and he's someone who will do just what he has to. Like, his mentality is he just wants to win. This is a kid, I'm telling you, step in day one of the locker room, he's going to immediately win over everyone with his attitude. He's an incredibly humble guy. He just knows when to take the blame, and he knows exactly, you know, what he has to do as a leader. Unlike someone like, you know, Shadiva Sanders. To me, late round first pick. Late round or early second round at his highest. Should he go any lower, it's going to be fucking criminal. He should not go any lower than an early second round pick. I think his pros definitely do outweigh all the red flags. Things like, you know, his system is not known for producing solid quarterbacks. He can't control that. Or him struggling against certain competition because, I mean, the tape says it all. And it will tell you with him, you're just getting a straight gunslinger, someone who can fire quick. Which, by the way, may I mention, if you throw him in a fast system like Seattle or Miami, which even if he didn't start his first year and did develop behind someone like a Geno Smith or Tua, who's one hit away from being on a wheelchair and being rolled out of the league, I think that would be perfect. I think putting him somewhere, you know, like Seattle or Miami to learn behind great quarterbacks who can teach and can make them so great. Or even a popular choice that I keep mentioning because I think a lot of quarterbacks would just thrive from learning behind Matthew Stafford. I think it would just make for the most perfect development. I think it could really just make him a franchise quarterback in the future. I'm just saying, if you start him day one and he struggles, that's your fucking fault. I do think he should not be a day one talent. As much more talent as he packs, as much as he is an electric player, he should not be day one. He is someone who needs to learn, which, by the way, we gotta start learning to sit these guys. We need to stop being afraid to actually sit them and just have a veteran fucking play the entire year. Well, I know it sucks having a losing season, but I'd rather have a losing season with a promising quarterback on the bench learning behind my veterans fuck ups. Because I'm telling you, if I put that rookie out there and he goes makes the same fuck ups, that's how you completely destroy someone's confidence. That's how you lose a chance of creating a franchise quarterback. I'm telling you, that's how you fuck up. And him going somewhere like the Giants or Browns or even Raiders can be a bad thing if he's not sat. Because if he's not sat, he is going to fuck up really quick. If these teams are smart, I would draft an actual position, get a veteran, and just draft Dart early in the second. Scoop him up if I have to. Because his talents to me are not far off of Sanders. Hell, maybe Ward too, but I think I'm reaching with that one. Because, you know, Ward does top him in most things. But his comparison to me is like a Baker Mayfield, someone with a large arm, makes great reads, but still, makes very questionable plays often, which Dart still does. But depending where he goes, this will really just be his giant make or break, but they will be very happy with what they drafted regardless. He's a low risk, high reward player who can easily be your franchise guy if you just do him right. He's got all the tools you want, he just needs the right home. And that will do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching this random recap. I just wanted to dedicate a whole video really to Jaxson Dart and just talking more about him because he's a quarterback who just really interests me. His talents and just everything about him just screams first round pick. Like, he can be the guy. He really could be the next big thing in the NFL. He's just got to be done right. There's been a bunch of gimmick quarterbacks like Bo Nix or even like Mahomes, for example, coming out of Texas Tech. There's been a lot of guys who just flew under everyone's radar, including those I just named. So, Dart could be the next best thing named right after that. So who knows, surely, who does know? To some people, he's the best. To some people, he's the worst. In my opinion, he'll be the perfect dark horse pick. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video.